B2B means business to business, and one service that's often promised is saving your business money. Today's global market and higher dollar means we all have to be even more competitive.
Dan O'Toole from Phoenix Systems has been helping businesses increase productivity for 30 years. Their success is measured in the fact that their customers continue to turn to Phoenix for advice year after year. Increasing productivity usually means higher profits and a happier workforce. And it takes a detailed process to know how to do this.
Our initial step is to undertake a process review where we understand how a business actually functions today. When we've done that, we actually can report back to our client where issues may arise through things such as redundancy, where you're doing the same task over and over again, error situations, of course, added costs involved. Gap, where basically acts of God are required to complete a process, and best practice. This is where we're able to analyze an approach taken by the client and understand how industry-wide best practice could be introduced to improve productivity. When that's complete, oftentimes we can re-engineer with the client and use existing software to meet the requirements of the business. Sometimes that's not enough. And if it's required, we can introduce software that's more consistent with business requirements that will fit the organization. And that's a key thing. The software has to be able to fit the process of the organization. We'll then do that as a second task, go through the training requirements, implement the software, and guide the customer through the early days of moving to a new business process.
Once a customer sees the improvement in their business, the relationship doesn't end there. Changes in technology means there's always new ways to improve productivity. And because the Phoenix team delivered on their initial promises, they now have a client base who's willing to listen to new ideas.
Many of our clients have been with us in fact, some have been with us since we started business, so roughly 30 years now. That business continues to evolve as well as ours does. We're committed to providing ongoing process improvement, ongoing product improvement for our clients. So today, for example, we were looked in 2009 and introduced 2 or 3 brand new products that help augment the day-to-day business process that our clients are requirements. So things such as video conferencing, a quality product as well to allow better compliance with government requirements with respect to quality. These things are undertaken and developed, and we've integrated those into our offerings.
A successful entrepreneur should always be looking for ways to run a better business. O'Toole talks about an easy suggestion that he offers most companies.
Oftentimes when I walk into an office, I look for paper. And the more paper I see, the more opportunity I see. Xerox claims today that, for example, almost 6% of every, 6 cents of every dollar comes into the company is expensed through paper management. And that's a huge cost. As Canadians, and personally as myself, I believe that it's time for us to start looking at ways of reducing those costs, especially given a green approach to our environment, as well as, in fact, it's just better business. So our goal today is to reduce costs based on paper usage. If you walk through our office, you'll find a couple filing cabinets. You won't find an awful lot of paper around. That's because we actually practice what we preach. We have a paperless office to the best of our ability here. It's part of our green strategy. So that's one key area that I look for.
O'Toole states that a typical company will see their investment in productivity pay off in under a year. And the benefits to the employees continues long past that. Phoenix Systems' continued success has allowed the company to constantly grow. One method of rapid growth is through acquisitions. And O'Toole recently doubled the size of his company through purchasing a Western Business Solutions company. Phoenix now has a greater database of customers, more offices to service those customers, and more cost-effective products to sell to those same customers. It's because both companies had a similar focus that there is now a synergy.
Teleconferencing, the ability to have interactive video communication real-time with your offices or with clients throughout the world indeed, is almost as good as being there. It's been around for a number of years. In fact, it goes back decades, but there have been problems inherent with it. 3 primary things we had to overcome. The initial investment cost, way too high. Certainly scheduled, identified for medium-large companies, but for the small and medium enterprise, definitely a cost that was too high to be borne. Secondly, the cost of actually going through the transmission, the exchange of information, required very expensive telecommunications facilities, and inherently was beyond the means of most small and medium enterprise businesses. And third, the technical skill set to have this up and running on an ongoing basis. What we had to do was get past those three issues, and we found something that worked. Interestingly, we found it at the same time that we were looking at our acquisition in the West, and it became actually a requirement. So if we hadn't found this type of technology, I would have been very serious. I'd have very serious doubts as to whether I would have moved forward. So we undertook the telecommunication implementation. We now have teleconferencing across the whole enterprise, both in Canada and the US. We did that in less than 30 days.
If a business is run efficiently, there's no reason why it shouldn't continue to grow. Although Phoenix Systems has recently doubled in size, there are no plans to slow down.
We are growing this year. We will probably be 2.5 times our size, and next year, again, the same thing. But as we handle the migration of the Bell Business System acquisition into our company and have it stabilized, the growth after that will continue to the point where I believe that we'll see every 2 to 3 years a doubling of size.
Big Fish Video Production.